Well, I was going to make um, a final wrap up of the introduction to the holism spiritual occult world. I decided that I it would be better to see this as ethics, morality, and cults because this is something I wanted to get into anyway, and this list I've got fits more into this category. So, first, I'm going to tell you for me, and this is personal working definitions, and they work well for me. They're not academic, but I define morality as something that's written down that others say you must do this or you're not part of us. If you don't do this, you're going to wherever. It's a system of a code of action, belief, etc., imposed from outside. To me, ethics is something that you have inside that you explore and you let out. Um, I guess, and this is extreme examples, but I'm not that good at thinking examples otherwise. Say you're walking along the street and across the street, you're in a small rural area that's notorious for hopefully not anymore, but there was a time when the KKK was doing all the hanging and stuff. Say you're walking by, if you were watching something like this, and your morality might say, oh, these guys are doing an honorable thing because that's what everyone says is moral, and you keep walking. But if you're working on your own ethics, you might go, why are you doing that? And you go try to, and now, unfortunately, if it's many of them versus one of you might get hurt in the process, but you get the idea. Morality is what has been imposed on you from outside versus the ethics that you discover yourself. And so, I mean, I've taken Buddhist vows, I use them as a guideline. Um, there's a really good book out there. I was very surprised to discover it. I lasted in, I trained with the Order of the Paladin. I lasted till the end of the apprentice training. It's the Order of the Paladins, a pagan order of knighthood, but I just didn't have what it took. There's a variety of things that were just bringing me down. I couldn't continue, but I respect his training. And if you're really into knighthood and magic and the pagan path, I encourage you to check out this Order of the Paladin by Mr. Kirk Cahulan. He wrote the book The Wiccan Warrior and a whole bunch of wonderful things. But he had recommended a book called When, Why, and If by Robin Wood. It's basically a book of pagan, well, she used the word morality, but pagan ethics. And most of the stuff I knew, but she actually had a chapter that I hadn't even thought of, and it was wonderful just working through it. But what I've discovered is, and I've discovered this since the late 90s, I've been watching this holistic movement grow. I have been part of either trying to be a practitioner or a member of holistic spiritual 5 different communities across the East Coast, down south, and here in the Midwest. Each time I got burned because they were not, well, one, I was more magical than spiritual, but two, they were not really concerned about being ethical. And I'll leave it at that. Unfortunately, I'm part of a light workers group on Facebook for Bernie. These are some of the most ethical, marvelous spiritual people I've ever met. So I know that being spiritual and holistic, and that does not mean that you can't be. It just, I'd had bad experiences until I'd found this. Because as a holistic healer, studying for over 20, 25 years, I've discovered a lot of people, the more skilled and magical they get, the less their sense of honor goes down. And I'm not comfortable with that. That just, there's a variety of reasons, but I want to. There's some categories, and we'll probably have to do Isaac separately. There's several categories and groups out there that I will want to warn you on. I've found either personal experience or um, other people have mentioned them online. This is an approach. They may be money driven, they may be frauds, predators, con men, cultists, there may be abuse or sexual misconduct. It's from this is in the Buddhist community. Mahavajra. I happen to like his things on the Kujian, but I got very weird vibes when I checked him out on Facebook. And I've since found out there's one website that says that he's got treat his material with respect. He knows what he's talking about, but I would not try to hang out with him. There's just something off. But that's just me. I was part of the new Kadampa Buddhist tradition. This is a tradition that you do not, I repeat, do not want to be part of if you are a magic user because their Dharma protector will harass you badly. Um, there is a Cho teacher online. I was very surprised to discover this, Lama Jinpa. He's a valid practitioner, but he is not authorized to teach, but he's teaching anyway. Then I was surprised, although I shouldn't have been, Shidoshi Stephen K. Hayes. Apparently, he's come up with his own form of Buddhism, and I won't get into it because it's. Um, I mean, some of them that make more sense. You look at the Christians. You've got Rick Warren. I mean, that guy makes that. I can't see how that fits what the Bible and what the Christed one taught. Creed Flow Dollar. A lot of the televangelists and megachurch preachers. I mean, it's probably more a business proposition. You may or may not remember Tammy and James Baker. So there's a lot of people out there making money in that tradition at others' expense. Now, the New Age. Uh, I have heard both sides on the TM movement. The Maharishi who founded it. I read a book that claimed that the guide to the Maharishi said, "We do not want you to go to America," and he came anyway. I don't know. I've heard a lot of mixed things. Mr. Berg of the Kabbalah Center. Um, Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. He's a character of his own. Um, the Native New Age, Sun Bear. Apparently, there's been some problems with some of what he's done with some of his people. Uh, in the witchcraft community, there was a couple people. Kenny Klein has been shown to be a child predator for years, and there's a lot of controversy about the Frosts. I respect the books they write. I have not met them, so I don't really know. But if you get somewhere, right off the bat, before I get to the Isaacs thing, what is their goal? Are they always making sure you know how powerful they are, or how cool they are, or how wonderful they are, or how crappy you are? Are they always worried about money in the sense of, I need you to give it to me? Just some instinctual things. Listen to your guts. I've even seen predators in assisted care centers for the elderly. They're all over the place. Um, they they'll say one thing, but you'll feel something different, and you'll go, and everyone else seems to be enraptured by him, and you're going, okay, what's wrong? Why is it everyone thinks he's cool but me? Trust it. Predators can be very charismatic. You don't want to mess with them. I've had dubious encounters with them, so please stay safe.